Good afternoon, students. So, again, Cambridge International School, Dasua, and your teacher Sarita Sani is again here with economics, e-learning. So, let's start with today's little briefing about the last lesson. So, what we have discussed in the last lesson. So let me begin with that. The last thing which we have done in the this chapter, chapter number 3, demand. So we discussed about demand, what are the different types of demand. Then we discussed along with the schedule and curve. Then all these things we have covered in the previous lesson. So for today, your subject is economics, as you know. So, and the topic for today is law of demand. It is moreover quite similar to your individual demand curve. We can say that, but here we are talking about a law of economics. So this is going to be the first law, and your grade is grade 11, and my name is Sarita Sani, so I'm your teacher. So let me continue with today's topic. So yes, today's topic to be covered for topics to be covered for today. Number one is law of demand. Another is movement along the demand curve. Third is the questions to be done for today. Yes, law of demand we're going to study in detail. Then we're going to learn about movement along the demand curve. Today, there are two topics related to this movement and the shifts along the demand curve. But I've not taken shift in the demand curve because I feel if we are first understanding the term movements along the demand curve, so why it occurs, then we can continue with the shifts. So we will continue with shifts in the next lesson. So next thing before beginning, I forgotten the last video. Again, the tip for your presentation in the chapter number in this your grade 11 economics. So how you have to attempt the paper. Now, I told you earlier, you need not to skip a single question. So you have to attempt each and every question. So that was the important thing. Now, if you have to attempt a question, so attempt it in a very neat manner. So you have to give all your answers in points wherever the questions are asked with like reasons, like assumptions. Like if they're asking for a statement, then you have to give just 2 or 3 lines for the statement. And moreover, the important thing is in the grade 11 is you need to take care of the word limit. So according to different marks, so there is different word limit. So I'll discuss the word limit in the next slide. So let's now begin with today's topic. So for for today's first topic is law of demand. So we're going to discuss here the statement of law. So what comes under this law's statement? So let's discuss. So law of demand states the inverse relationship. Inverse means negative, or we can say the opposite relationship, indirect relationship. So inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So we have discussed earlier, even when price is increasing, quantity demanded is decreasing. When price is falling, then quantity demanded is rising. So what is this? This is the inverse relationship. So next thing is keeping other factors constant. So other factors we have discussed determinants. So those are the other factors. So other factors, the term here we are using is ceteris paribus. This is very important question because sometimes in competitive exams people ask, what do you mean by ceteris paribus? So it is the phrase, it is a like word given to this phrase, keeping other factors constant. So for the phrase keeping other factors constant, we are using the term ceteris paribus. Uh, and for like every person has a nickname, so this law is also having nickname. So the other name that was given to this law is first law of purchase. So law of demand is also known as law of purchase. So let's move on with the next thing, that is assumptions. So assumptions of law of demand. So assumption means some of the things while using your law of demand, we have to keep it in our mind. So what are these things? So we have already discussed While stating the law of demand, we use the phrase keeping other factors constant or ceteris paribus. I discussed already in the last slide with you. So this phrase covers the following points. So these are the other factors which we need to make constant when we are talking about assumptions of law of demand. So when we are talking about law of demand, so we need to keep all these things into the constant point. So the first thing is So the first thing is price of substitute goods do not change. Like I've told you yesterday, substitution goods, tea and coffee. So we are supposing the price of any of the substitute is not changing when we are applying our law of demand. This is the first assumption. Second is prices of complementary goods remain constant. So prices of complementary goods are even not changing. So like I told you, complementary goods are those goods which are demanded together. So I told you ink and pen, car and petrol, bread and butter. So like that. So their prices are remaining constant, that are not changing. Another thing is income of the consumer remains the same. So there is no change in the income of the consumer. The person who is going to buy the product, he is not going to see any change. He is not having any change in his income. So when we are talking about income, that means his income is not increasing, his income is even not reducing. Fine. So this is the point they are talking about. Not increasing, not decreasing. So it remains constant. He was drawing the same salary which he was drawing earlier even. Next thing is uh, there is no expectation of change in price in the future. So we are not expecting any change in the price in the near future. Like I told you, in the case of petrol, government increases the prices, petrol and diesel, both the commodities. In that, government rises the prices and people start buying it in panic before the time. Like most of the time, it is declared in the 12th midnight. So midnight, from that, the new price starts uh, applying on these commodities. So people always trying to buy before it will be increasing from the midnight. So next thing is taste and preferences of the consumer remain the same. Yes, so there is no change in the taste of the consumer. So like some people like to eat like sweets in the beginning, and in the upcoming years we feel they are going to change their taste. Maybe they don't like, or maybe they have any disease. So because of that, they change their preferences or they change their taste. So what is that? That is again here, there is no change in that. It remains the same. So no taste and preferences are changing for the consumer. So these all things are, that is constant. Now let's continue with the next topic. The next topic is demand schedule. Yes, whenever we have to attempt a law, so we have to keep few things in our mind. The first thing is we have to talk about the statement of the law. Please note it down, all the things. So the first thing is statement of the law, which we have to discuss. So we have discussed in this point. Then we discussed about the assumptions of the law. Then after assumptions, we are talking about demand schedule, or we can say the table that is of demand. Fine. So table or the schedule. Schedule is always used for the tabular representation of data. So here we are representing price and quantity demanded in the form of table. So what does it, this table shows? Again the inverse relationship. So this table clearly shows that more and more units of commodity are demanded when price of the commodity falls. So when price is declining, when the price is decreasing, obviously we are demanding, we are trying to buy more. Fine. So this is what they have explained in this. Next, after demand curve, demand schedule, we have demand curve. So we have to note it down. This is going to be the fourth point when we have to explain any law. So for explanation of any law, we have to keep all these points in our mind. The first thing was statement of a law, then is assumptions, then third is demand schedule then is demand curve. So here we are going to represent the demand schedule in the form of demand curve, and we can say the graphical representation of the demand schedule. So so what we are just seeing here, so you can see the demand curve is always slopes downward. So what is the reason behind this? You can see demand curve DD. So DD, that is slopes downward from left to right. So from left it is already at the upside, then it started declining. So that is to the right. So indicating an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So what does this diagram shows? It is showing that there is inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Now let's move on to the next topic, is why other factors are kept constant. So yes, I started with keeping all the things constant. So let me discuss about this point. So why we are keeping all the factors constant? So the quantity demanded of a commodity depends on many factors. So yes, like we are also demanding now less commodity because of lockdown. We are not able to go out, so our quantity demanded, we are, it is dependent upon many factors. So now we are affected by environmental factors. So besides the price of the given commodity, so whatever the price is, we are not able to prefer it at the par. So next thing is, if we want to understand the separate influence of one factor, it is necessary that all other factors are kept constant. So if we want to understand only one factor, so obviously we need to keep other factors constant. Fine. It is similar like if we want to see one person's performance, we need to keep other people silent. So it is the same thing they are showing it here in the, when we are keeping other factors constant. So therefore, while discussing the law of demand, it is assumed that there is no change in the other factor. So when we have to understand the law of demand, we have to just understand the price and its effect on quantity demanded. Then we have to keep other factors at constant. Ceteris paribus. So let's move on to the next thing. This question was already asked many times. You have to learn this in a good manner. So let's move to the next thing. Next are few points which are very important when we are talking about law of demand. So what are the factors, or what are the facts we feel are important about law of demand? The first thing is inverse relationship. So yes, we have inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So it simply affirms that an increase in price will tend to reduce the quantity demanded, and a fall in price will lead to increase in quantity demanded. So it's simple inverse relationship. Fine. So next is qualitative, not quantitative. Now what is qualitative? Qualitative is something that cannot be measurable. So it makes a qualitative statement only, that is, it indicates the direction of change in the amount demanded and does not indicate the magnitude of change. They are always showing you the direction, but they are not showing you the change, how much change that was occurred. So this is how it is qualitative in nature. Next thing is no proportional relationship. It does not establish any proportional relationship between change in price and resultant change in demand. So yes, there is no proportional relationship. So if the price rises by 10%, quantity demanded may be fall by any proportion. So there is no proportional relationship here. Next is one-sided. So law of demand is one-sided as it only explains the effect of change in price on quantity demanded. So it is just affecting quantity demanded. So it states nothing about the effect of change in quantity demanded on the price of the commodity. So we are not talking about the price of the commodity. We are not just talking about the quantity demanded, how it affects the price. So we are not talking about this. Next thing is, the next topic we have to discuss is that is reasons of law of demand. So what are the reasons for law of demand? So this question was asked many times in the CBSE exams even. So this question can be asked like, why does the law of demand operate in an economy? So why does a consumer buy more at lower price than at a higher price? So why law of demand slopes downward? So all these questions answer lies here reasons for law of demand. The first reason is law of diminishing marginal utility. So we have already covered law of DMU. So what was that? As we go on consuming more and more units of a commodity, we feel the marginal utility derived from that particular product is diminishing, is decreasing. Fine. So similar is the case of this law of demand. That was the main reason your law of demand is always downward sloping. So this is the point, first point. Next is substitution effect. Yes, substitution effect is also the reason why your law of demand is operating in an economy. So substitution effect. Substitution effect refers to substituting one commodity in place of other when it becomes relatively cheaper. So I have given you example of tea and coffee. So I told you when the price of one commodity falls, so obviously people will shift if the price of the one commodity falls and other ones increase, then people obviously shift to the commodity which has lower prices. So what is that? The demand for that commodity with the lower price is always increasing. So what is that? That is substitution effect. Fine. So I can give you example here. So example is of Coke and Pepsi. So then we can say Pepsi becomes cheaper and will be substituted for Coke when its price falls and no change of the substitute. So there is no change in the price of the Coke, but there is a fall in the price of Pepsi. So in this case, what will happen? So demand for Pepsi will always rise. So this is the point. So this is substitution effect. So because of this reason also the law of demand prevails. Next thing is income effect. Income effect refers to effect on demand when real income of the consumer changes due to change in price of the given commodity. Now, if the prices of the commodities have increased, but the income has not increased for the person. So in that case, what happens? The real income of the person will always change. So because of that, what happens? His quantity which he was consuming according to the price of the commodity, it was also changing. Now the next thing is when price of the given commodity falls, when price of the given commodity falls, it increases purchasing power of the consumer. As a result, he can purchase more of the given commodity with the same money income. Suppose you were having 100 rupees and you want to buy Cambridge Register for your maths, or you can say for your economics subject. So what happened now? Price by chance, price of that Cambridge Register has now declined. So previously you were able to buy only one register with 100 rupees. Now what happened? Your real income, real money, that is increased because the price of the register has declined. So because of that, now you are able to buy more. So what is this? This is income effect. So how we are just getting income affected here. Next is additional customers. Now, this point is very, very important. People who are feeling the price of the goods are now declined. So the people who were not earlier buying the products, now they also start buying the products. So this is also the reason why law of demand prevails. So why law of demand occurs. So when price of commodity falls, many new consumers who were not in position to buy it earlier due to high price starts purchasing it. So they start purchasing it. In addition to new customers, old consumers of the commodity start demanding more due to its reduced price. So you might have seen this is luckily the case when we are just finding out sale of some brands. So people are always looking for their size which they're going to fit them, but in that time period they are not able to get it because yes, at the time few people were already preferring the brands, but at the time of sale many people who were not ready to buy that particular costlier brand, now they start buying those brands. So because of this, additional customers are also attached. So this is most of the case when we are buying any like products of brands in the time period of sale, or we can say the season and sale. So next is the different uses. Yes, we know there are different products, even their uses are many. So we have got many different uses. So you can take the example of milk, you can take the example of electricity, you can take the example of that we can say the chana dal, we can take the example of that. So we can use for many purposes. So like butter also, like milk is can be used for many purposes. Drinking, so it can be the first purpose, then making of cheese and butter, then sweets, then curd. So you can make it in different uses. So this is also the reason why law of demand prevails. Now the next thing, we have done where law of demand prevails. So now there are certain areas where law of demand is not prevailing, is not applicable. So what are these areas? Let's explore. So exceptions to the law of demand. Exceptions means something that is not applied on now law of demand. So exceptions to the law of demand occur, but where it occurs, the first thing is given goods. So these are the these are the goods which are given by Sir Robert Giffen, and it is also called as like Giffen's paradox, under which these goods were explained. So what are these goods? These are special kind of inferior goods on which the consumer spends a large part of his income, and their demand rises with an increase in price, or and demand falls with decrease in price. Now what does it mean? We can just talk about this with the example. So in our country, it is often seen that when price of coarse cereals like jawar and bajra falls, when their prices are falling down, the consumers have tendency to spend less on them and shift over to the superior cereals like wheat and rice. So this phenomenon is called as Giffen's paradox. So what happens in this case? The income effect is totally negative. So that means price effect is negative. Yes. So here we are not thinking of any of income, but yes, the price effect is negative. So when the price increases, demand rises. When the price falls, there when demand falls with decrease in price. So demand also falls with decrease in price. So this is what they're talking about. Next thing which we are talking about is status symbol goods or goods of ostentation. So now what is status symbol? Some of the goods which we feel like diamonds, gold, antique paintings. So if they are like costlier, so then they are the status symbol. Then they are among the luxuries. So if they are not costlier, then obviously there is no chance of status of symbol goods. So they are no more treated as luxuries, or we can say the goods of ostentation, or we can say the status symbol goods. So this is what the exception of law occurs. So next is fear of shortage. When sometimes we have fear of shortage in our mind, so we buy goods in panic. So at that time also, whatever the price is there, we are buying the goods. So what is that? That in this case also law of demand is not applicable. Then is ignorance. मीन्स आपको पता ही नहीं चला, आपने इग्नोर ही कर दिया, आपने देखा ही नहीं, आपने सर्च ही नहीं किया, ठीक है. सो उस चीज को बिकॉज ऑफ इग्नोरेंस, क्योंकि अपने फ्रेंड आपके फ्रेंड ने बोल दिया कि दिस इज समथिंग गुड, सो यू स्टार्टेड बाइंग दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग at any price. So at that point also, law of demand is not prevailing. Next thing is fashion related goods. So fashion related goods, yes, there is no effect of price. Whatever the fashion is coming, you need to buy that those things which are in fashion. We are not buying the goods which are not in the fashion. So here we are even thinking price is useless if we have to buy something related to fashion. So this is the point. Next thing is necessities of life. Whatever the price they are charging, we need to buy the necessities of life. So food, whatever the charges are there, we need to buy. So what is that? That is exceptions to the law of demand. Then is change in weather. So like now it happened. So because of change in weather season, so because of environment, so the change in the prices, there is no change. There is we are buying the goods even irrespective of the prices of the goods. So what is that? That is again where law of demand is not applicable. Now the last topic which we are left is here I have to tell you one more thing. So as we have already done that, we assume certain things are constant and still law of demand is universally applicable, but still in some of the cases it there are certain exceptions where law of demand is not applicable. Fine. So this is also very important. So in normal conditions and considering all the given assumptions, law of demand is always universally applicable. So this is the most important point. Next thing is movement along demand curve. So first we can see there are two movements in the graph we are showing. So in the other that we have the flow chart, and in the flow chart I just try to explain you everything related to your movement along the demand curve. Yes, when we talk about the movement, that can be the upward movement and that can be the downward movement. So the upward movement we call it as the contraction of demand, and the downward movement we call it as the that is the expansion in demand. So you can see, in the flow chart, change in quantity demanded, that we call it as movement along the curve. It occurs due to change in price. So how it occurs? Because of change in the price of the commodity. Now, movement along the curve occurs whether in the downward movement, other is in the upward movement. So downward movement is known as expansion movement and upward movement is known as contraction movement. So expansion occurs because of decrease in price and contraction occurs because of because of increase in price. So this flow chart can be used for even making difference between both upward and downward movement. So movements along the curve that will be explained here. Next thing is movement in demand curve. So there are two movements we have done. One is the upward and other is the downward. So when we talk about the downward movement, we are always talking about the expansion. So the first figure is representing the of expansion of demand curve. So when we talk about the demand curve, here we have the first is when price is moving towards this P2. So P1 to P2, that is decline in price, and because of decline in price, the quantity demanded is increasing. So what is that? That is your expansion of demand. So next is the second graph. You can see here I have mentioned contraction of demand. So what happens when price P1 to P2 it shifts? When price rises from P1 to P2, then quantity shifts from Q1 to Q2 inward. So we call it as the contraction of demand. So it will be always upward movement. So I hope this is clear to you. So now move to the last part of your chapter, that are the questions which we have done in today's lesson. So the first question is define law of demand. We have discussed in the first part. Then what are the assumptions of the law? So you have to explain all the assumptions of the law. Then is explain demand schedule for law of demand. So you have to explain demand schedule along with the schedule of the law of demand. Then we have to explain curve, demand curve for law of demand, and with the diagram you need to make it. Then why other factors are kept constant. So ceteris paribus, you need to explain the reason for that. Next is why does a law of demand operate? So you need to explain all the reasons here. Then what are the exceptions to the law of demand? You have to explain all. Then explain to movement along the demand curve. So you can explain all these things in detail. So if you have any kind of doubt, you can give me call, or you can even ask me to explain you again. So I hope today's lesson is clear to you and you will do well in your exams whenever we're going to meet in the school. So in the end, I would say thank you, God bless you, and pray for humanity so that we will be all coming out of this COVID-19 pandemic as soon as possible. Thank you. God bless you. Take care. Stay at home. Stay safe. Stay in the learning mode in your home. So we are here with you. So Cambridge International School is doing all possible efforts to make you happy and not let you suffer in the future regarding your studies. So thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. Enjoy learning.